Welcome back, everybody. If you're new, my name's Nicholas, and this is Investing Against the Grain. Well, we had a pretty good day today in the stock market in general, and specifically for Tesla. If you take a look at today's performance, we were up $32.18, about 3.6%. So a pretty good day for Tesla, and more notably is that we ended the week at a higher level. So if we take a look at the week, we ended up in the green by $50, or about just under 6%. So it seems like we're potentially out of this funk with Tesla. So that's very comforting moving forward. I know it's been a lot of seesaw lately, and there's probably a lot more of this seesaw roller coaster type of ride that we're going to have moving forward. But hopefully we've seen the worst of it. At least that's the hope. But keep in mind, with this channel, the whole point is to think about the longer term and the bigger picture. And so that's kind of what I want to touch on in this episode is, just getting back to basics and understanding what we're doing when it comes to investing. Now, as always, keep in mind, I'm just an engineer. For those of you who don't know, my background's in mechanical electrical engineering, and now I'm in the software world doing software systems engineering, designing data centers and cloud environments. So, just to put in perspective, none of this is investment advice. You're just hearing from an engineer's perspective, especially when it comes to Tesla, right? My particular background tends to lend itself towards everything Tesla does. So it's just a good blend of, what I know and what Tesla is doing. So with that said, in this video, the idea is to get back to basics and just touch on what's going on in the greater macro world. Before we get into it, though, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell. And with that said, let's get into it. There's been a lot of conversation right now, especially in the YouTube world, especially with a lot of these financial channels, talking about the great doom that's about to happen, this big massive correction, this big sell-off. A lot of notable YouTube financial channels have been talking about this, what's happening with inflation, what's happening with the macro environment, what the Fed's going to do, what they're not going to do, what might happen, GDP. I mean, all these things, right? And sometimes we hear all these things, and it's people who are talking from what feels like a position of knowledge and a position of authority, right? I mean, you hear one person talking about the CPI numbers year over year with the GDP and what that means with 25 basis points and like all this vernacular that sounds like, oh man, this person knows what they're talking about. And not to say they don't, right? I mean, they know the words, they know what they mean, what they're saying is logical, but here's the problem, right? Even a meteorologist can sit there and tell you what's happening with weather patterns, talk about cumulus clouds versus nimbus clouds, talk about the different loop currents within the ocean and what's happening, right? And they try to predict what's going on with the hurricane, and they tend to be wrong every single time. Doesn't mean the meteorologist doesn't know what they're talking about, doesn't mean they don't know their topic and their niche, but when it comes to predicting, they're not good at it. They actually tend to be very bad at it up until the last second. And I think the same goes with a lot of people who try to, pass off this idea of knowledge and competence when it comes to the market and predicting what's going to happen. Look, even the Fed is bad at this. Janet Yellen, right? She thought things were a certain way. She was wrong. Jerome Powell thought things were transitory. He was wrong. And to think that all of these YouTubers are just that much smarter when they don't even have the same amount of data as these other people do is just, it's not logical. And hopefully that's what differentiates this channel from other channels is that, with this channel, we try to take things back to, as you would hear Elon say, first principles. And when it comes to first principles with predicting what's going to happen moving forward, here's the truth. We can't. That's the basic. Okay. So what we can do is control the things we can and not worry about the things we can't control. So with that said, what can we control? Well, what we can control is how we invest. And with this channel and the point of this channel, and I would even point out all these other YouTube channels, all these financial channels, which I'm not going to drop names, right? You know who they are. You see what's going on right now, right? There's a lot of drama going on, but even those YouTubers would give you the advice I'm about to give. So, and I'm a big fan of all of them, right? Literally, I watch all of them. I think they're amazing creators. I think they've done amazing work. They've got amazing portfolios, right? But they're not doing a lot of the things they say that you should do, right? So here, I just want to take things back home. And again, I think they would agree with me. What you can control is thinking about the long term. What you can control is thinking about the bigger picture. Stop worrying about these short-term inflections up and down with the stock market. It's going to happen, especially right now, right? 2022 is already off to one of the wildest years we've had in a long time, right? Honestly, since I was out of college, right? So it's been a lot of fluctuation. But the bigger point is, if we look back to where we were 6 months ago, sitting right now at, what are we at, $923, we would have been ecstatic, okay? And what you should be even more comforted by is the fact that you know that we were just at 1243. So that means we have all this room to the upside, right? It's not like we're trying to break out to all-time highs, right? At this point, we're just trying to get back to over 1,000, back to $1,200. So the point is, if we think about the longer term, the bigger picture, these things don't matter to us, right? I mean, there's just so much noise out there right now about why you should be scared, why we're going to have another recession, right? I mean, even Elon just, tweeted something about, it's likely that we're going to have a recession within the next, 18 months. But even he acknowledged that, predicting the future is damn near impossible, right? He said that in the same tweet. But the point is, you can't predict it. Right? Sometimes you get lucky, right? Michael Berry, for example, he got lucky, right place, right time, saw the right things. If you believe the movie and the book, The Big Short, right? According to that, okay, that's one example. He's been wrong about everything else ever since, right? If you look at Jim Cramer, when he talked about the financial collapse, saying, you got to sell, you got to get out, get out of everything. Okay, when has Jim Cramer honestly been right about any of these other things, right? I mean, up until recently, he was anti-Tesla, and now he's a big Tesla bull, and now he's all on board with Elon. So again, if you took a step back and you just think about the bigger picture, you're going to be fine. All right. And all of this is just going to be noise at the end of the day. Do we have inflation right now? Yeah, we do. And it sucks, right? I can't even go to the grocery store and get, a bag of apples without looking at it and like, wow, that's expensive for a bag of apples. Right? I mean, it's crazy. We're seeing everywhere. Gas prices are just going crazy, right? And not just for vehicles, but, a lot of people use natural gas to heat up their house, right? We use natural gas here for our stove. We use natural gas here for our grill. These things start to add up, and inflation is real. But it doesn't mean that the stock market has to tank. It doesn't. And if the Fed starts raising interest rates, that also doesn't mean that things have to tank. The last time the Fed started to raise interest rates, once they actually started, the stock market actually started to go up. Okay, I think there's a big misconception about what's happening in the macros and what's going on with these interest rates and reality. The reality is the stock market is already predicting these interest rates are going to happen. They're already predicting it, right? I mean, I think right now the experts claim that there's 6 rate hikes already predicted into the market by 25 basis points on each one. And that's just terminology. If you don't know what that means, 25 basis points just means 0.25%, right? So essentially, if it goes up with one hike, that's 0.25. The second hike would get up to 0.5%. Third hike, 0.75. So every quarter of a percent is 25 basis points. But the point is, the market already has this kind of price in. So all of that has already happened. Now, what the market freaks out about is when there's a lack of predictability, when we don't know what the Fed's going to do, right? And even big investors, right, portfolio managers, hedge funds, they don't like that either. They want that to be a variable they don't have to deal with. So a lot of this really shouldn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. It just doesn't, right? Especially when we are thinking about 5 years, 7 years, 10 years down the road. Right, we're looking at price targets. Whether you look at ARK Invest saying, base case $3,000 by 2025 for Tesla. I mean, think about that. If you have 1,000 shares in Tesla, so $1 million in Tesla, right? In 3 years now, at 3,000 share, you'll be at 3 million. Like, that's amazing. That's an amazing return if you believe what ARK Invest is saying. Other people think it'll be at 4,000 or 5,000 by then. Maybe it only goes up to 2,000. That's a doubling of your money in 3 years. Those are incredible returns. All right. And we're starting to see this happen more and more with Tesla, right? The story is starting to happen. People do not seem to understand what's happening when it comes to exponential curves with Tesla. And I'm going to make a video about this. Me and my best friend, we were walking to, I mentioned I went to see Jordan Peterson speak the other day. I know a lot of you don't like him. I see it in the comments, but listen, you have to, you can't just, ignore and dismiss people because you don't agree with everything they say. Most people have at least something of value to provide to you, and those are the things you should pull away and add to your life and throw away the rest, right? So you should have some kind of empathy for people and understanding that you're not going to agree with everything everybody says, right? I mean, if you lived a life like that, you'd probably have no friends, right? And people wouldn't be friends with you because do you really think everyone's going to agree with what you think, right? It's not a place that you want to be in. Right, we want to let people have different opinions, and those different opinions allow us to see things differently and allow us to grow. I'm going on a tangent now, but I'll just give you an example. Something that Jordan Peterson said that I thought was very impactful is he was talking about in relationships that it's very healthy for us to fight and to get our thoughts out there, our understanding out there, in a relationship, rather than bottling things in, ignoring them, dismissing them, not having good, healthy communication. But what he said that I thought was it was very heavy to me. He said, hopefully we're fighting for peace. The idea is we're like, yes, there's a fight and there's friction, but the point is that we're both aggravated. We both feel misunderstood, and we're trying to get to a place of understanding. That way we can elevate it to a place of peacefulness. Doesn't mean we have to agree, but the idea is to get to a place where we understand each other, and that's how we evolve, right? And I think that's a messaging that whether you agree with things that Jordan Peterson has done or said in the past, I think that's a messaging that you can take away, that you can walk away from and be like, yeah, that's valid. And maybe you think you already knew that, but to me, I thought the way he put it was very beautiful, that we're fighting to get to peace, right? To get to a deeper level of understanding with one another. Anyways, my point in saying all of this is that I was walking with my best friend, and we were just talking about how things are happening within Tesla on all these S curves, all these exponential curves. And like I said, I'm going to make another video about this because I think there's a lot more to be said about this than what's been out there on YouTube. But when it comes to Tesla and their automotive portion of the business, their EV side, it's just starting. And put it to you this way, when I say it's just starting, Tesla just had a higher net income than what GM had. And GM sold a vastly more vehicles than Tesla did. Think about that. On top of that, in probably this year, in 2022, Tesla will have better numbers than GM and Ford. And by 2023 to 2025, Tesla will probably have better numbers than GM and Ford combined. And Tesla isn't even selling as many vehicles as them. What does that tell you, right? GM and Ford have margins of about 8 to 10%. Tesla's at 30%. Okay, like this is just happening. We're just starting to hit that inflection point of starting to go up on the S curve. So things are starting to happen. Forget about the macro. You can't control that. But you know what you can control? Your models, your spreadsheets, the inputs you put in there. What you can predict is seeing how Tesla's doing month over month. Okay, I don't care what's happening with the macro, what Jerome Powell, Janet Yellen, what they're all going to do. No matter what they do, they're not going to change the fact that Tesla's making X amount of cars per month. They're not going to change the fact that eventually, who knows when, but it's eventually, Berlin and Austin are going to open. And that's going to add more volume out into the market for Tesla, right? These things are what we can control. So take things back to a first principle way of thinking. Control what you can. Use your models. All the external stuff, right? If you look at the external stuff and try to work your way backwards, you're never going to get to any place of true rationale because you're going to miss something, right? The same way meteorologists don't get it, the same way analysts get things wrong all the time, right? Instead, look at the company, look at the fundamentals. I know I like to look at some of these charts. I like to play with the technical analysis. I know some of you don't think that technical analysis is real or whatever, but it's fun. It just is to me. I find it interesting when, we bounce off the 200-day moving average, like clockwork, and that becomes a point of support for us and we move up higher, right? Is that a coincidence? Maybe. Or is that proof that technical analysis is a real deal and it really works? Maybe. Who knows? all I know is it's interesting, and that's why I look at it. That's why I show it to you, just to bring it out, right? I think, you shouldn't be in one camp. Just, even with politics, I talk about this all the time. I don't think you should be Democrat. I don't think you should be a Republican. I don't think you should be a Libertarian. You should look at everything and then come and distill your own thoughts and decisions, and then find out what's true for you, and then respect other people for what's true for them. And I think the same goes for investing in the stock market, right? You should look at technical analysis, fundamental analysis, right? Look at all kinds of different perspectives, take that, distill it, and find out what makes the most sense for you. That's what I do as an engineer, okay? My discipline's in mechanical, electrical engineering, but now I'm also in the software world, right? And I'm meshing all of these together, right? When I'm setting up a data center for a customer, right, I have to think about the amount of amperage that's going to be pulling, right? How much heat's going to happen, all the thermodynamics that goes on with that. Are they having all these GPU cards within these clusters? Are they not? Does it not matter? Do I have to worry about CPU ready time because they have, such a demand on the processors? Do I care more about clock speed or do I care more about core count, right? Are they multi-threaded applications or are they not, right? It's all these things go together, and then I distill on what makes the most sense. This is why I hope that this channel brings value to you, because as an engineer, I'm trying to take a different approach with a lot of these things, right? I'm trying to get away from just thinking like an analyst, and instead I'm trying to apply the principles I use as an engineer every single day, and hopefully some of that comes out within this channel from a financial perspective for all of you. Anyways, okay, so with that said, no more talk about Tesla or investing. I just want to give you guys a little update on my life. Tomorrow, I have my first ever competition for CrossFit. It's a partner workout. It's going to be 3 events. It's going to take the whole day. It's going to be me and my friend. He's a little older than me, but he's from Brazil. So we're going to be doing it together. I hope to have him on the channel one day. He's very, very big in the crypto space, very, very knowledgeable when it comes to Bitcoin and wallets and, second and third layer type cryptocurrency. Honestly, things that I don't know much about. I hope to eventually have him on the channel and just do a little interview, a little one-on-one, and, maybe have some pointed questions to him, so challenge the idea of a cryptocurrency versus a fiat. And is it something that is more like gold? Is it, is it transactional enough? Or what about Bitcoin versus Ethereum, or things of that nature? I hope to eventually get to that. We'll see. We'll get to it. But we have a CrossFit competition coming up tomorrow. So pretty excited about that. Hoping that we get out of it in one piece. It's 3 workouts in one day. So we're gonna be tired tomorrow, absolutely. So wish us luck. I'll let you guys know how it went. Hopefully, I can put out a video on Sunday and give a little recap of what we might see in the week coming up for Tesla and the stock market as a whole, and I'll give you guys a little update on how the workout went. Also have the in-laws coming in, so pretty excited. They're driving down from Boston, so we'll have them here for about a month. They got a house on the beach here, so we're gonna be hanging out with them a lot. So that'll be good to have them down here, have them out of that cold weather, and just get some good family time. So that's what's going on in my life. And then I guess if I'm doing an update, I might as well give you guys more updates. We'll be going to Costa Rica soon. We'll be going to Mexico soon. We just kind of have that itch to get out of the country. So we got some trips planned up. We'll obviously keep making these videos every day or as frequently as we can, even when we're up there. Just kind of take you guys along our journey and keep you guys in touch with what we're doing in our life. But we'll leave it there. Again, if you guys want to help the channel out, if you want to get this type of messaging out, maybe get a different perspective to other people, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell. Feel free to leave comments down below. I try to get to as many of them as I can. Keep it positive or constructive. If you're gonna give some feedback, yeah, I appreciate it. I try to iterate a lot. If you can't tell, I'm constantly iterating on what we're doing. But I love the good feedback and the positive comments. Honestly, it's very uplifting. It's empowering, and honestly makes this one of the best decisions I've ever made to make a channel like this and try to get more content out there. All right. Again, I know I keep saying I'm going to leave it there, so we will leave it here today. I appreciate all of you, especially if you stuck to the end. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your weekend, okay? Enjoy your weekend. Take a step back from the financial world. Take a step back. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your time off. I love you all. Peace.